Hey there folks, Champastic here, bringing another audio commentary, and today we have a 2 versus 2 versus with WFZ, who is a newish player on World Elite, and Una, who is Lost Love here, and they're going to be playing against two players I'm not familiar with by the looks of things, but certainly don't count them out because there's so many fantastic Chinese players, and also, I mean, it's a 2 versus 2, so there's really a lot can happen, and we look by the looks of things, we do have a Fiend opening here for WFZ, and that's really common in combination with going for a Huntress opening from the Elf player here, and when those two things happen together, you can often see really powerful pushes. The Undead can tech up as well, while the Elf stays at tier 1, just makes 2 Ancient of War and pumps out Huntresses constantly. Meanwhile, we do have Elf and Orc, which is actually another really strong 2 versus 2 combination, because there's a lot of different things that can happen here. There's Normally, obviously, we have Blade Master and Demon Hunter coming out for them. You don't really need those aura heroes as much. Things like Priest of the Moon aren't as good, and we'll have to see what heroes we do see, though. Certainly those heroes are possible at least, but actually looks like he's not building one quite yet. Maybe he's going to go for a Tamarin hero first. That could be interesting. Oh no, he did start one eventually. Ooh, it is going to be Priest of the Moon actually, so interesting choice there by him. And we do have Torrent Chieftain, so really aura heavy, despite what he's saying. This is actually a really, or not really common, but somewhat common 2 versus 2 strategy, where you go Torrent Chieftain and mass headhunters, and then in conjunction with that you can do a huge number of huntresses as well. And obviously with the aura from the Priest of the Moon and the aura from the Torrent Chieftain, that actually is very similar to the aura from the Death Knight and the aura from the Priest of the Moon, because obviously both the Death Knight and Torrent Chieftain give extra movement speed, but the Torrent Chieftain is going to give extra attack speed as well, whereas the Death Knight's going to give extra healing and then also coil as well. And meanwhile, obviously you can see Stomp most often here from the Torrent Chieftain, because things like Fiends are just so easy to stomp, and Fiends and Huntresses both have a lot of hit points, so Shockwave isn't as useful certainly. And we do actually have one Grunt coming out, so maybe we're going to be seeing something different, but no, it looks like eventually the War Melted finish and just Headhunter production is now going to start. And that does certainly make the most sense. We know both Una and PCG's player here is going to or they are just going to have a sort of a quick battle here. Looks like Una's going to be the first to pull back, because he doesn't really know where that Orc player is. He hasn't even scouted out that it's a Torrent Chieftain yet, so it could be a Blade Master coming in to get a couple extra hits off, and that would be enough to secure the kill here for the green team. So certainly it's a good choice to run back at this point. Because obviously the Elf Undead strategy is a bit more well set. We do have Una actually putting up one of the Agents of War here now in WFZ's base, just so that if Una does lose his base, he will have some production remaining, and also provides some defense here. Very nice last second detonate there on that Priest of the Moon. Obviously it's not Tomb Board to drain the mana at this point, but it is very nice to deny the experience, especially in such a clutch situation like this, where both players are at low experience, and getting things like level 3 are very important in this matchup, because of so many rage units are going to be used by both sides in this game. And we do have WFZ now hitting level 2 fairly quickly, really, considering that he went for a very early Fiend build with the Graveyard and then the Crypt and then the Cigarette and then the Altar, or then the Altar and then the Cigarette. So really it's much slower Death Knight build normally, but he has still managed to get that level 2 fairly quickly, considering and we do not have the Torrent Chieftain as well at level 2 now, despite having gone for a much quicker build and a much quicker hero rather, but slightly slower units. Actually, a couple of Headhunters now taking a bit of damage. Obviously these are poison units, so they do a fair bit of damage, and in the meantime we do have this one Priest of the Moon now being chased down a slight bit, but he will probably be okay for the meantime, because he can move very quickly, as well as he can hide, and there's no dust here for the for Una at this point. But we do have now a couple Huntresses doing damage now to these Moonwalls as well. That's going to be something Una's going to have to respond to, and we can see he wants to come in from a good angle so that he can try and slow down the Huntress's retreat, but the green elf isn't having any of it, and manages to find a good route out where he isn't pathing blocked or anything like that. And we do not have the Death Knight actually being purged there, and he's going to get his level 3 off this camp as well, I believe. And so that's going to be very nice now for him as well, because it means that the elf can eventually expand and then just pump money to the undead, which is certainly something that's very strong, because once the undead gets his tech going, as he has started already, you can really do a lot of damage. We do actually have an Ancient Protector now going up for Una as well, so clearly worried about some harassment, because obviously it's fairly tricky to defend the elf space if both players, both enemies come in and one of the players is a bit too far away and has to TP in, and obviously TPing against the Tauren Chieftain means either you TP aggressively and then he just gets in a very, very good stomp off, or you TP defensively and then it takes a while to regroup and you've lost half your base. So it's probably good to have some sort of defense there. Obviously undead bases are fairly well defended once you have the Hall of the Dead done and once you have this Ancient of War out front as well. Looks like we have a bit of a bad fight here for Una. 2 versus 1 eventually does turn around as the WFZ going to be coming in from the bottom as well, so just cause a bit more troubles here. And I think maybe actually Team World Elite going to be looking for a bit of a fight here. The Death Knight's actually taking a bit too much damage, so probably will be wanting to move back. Does actually have a sacrificial skull, so can put down some blight somewhere, because obviously fights last a lot longer in 2 versus 2. So having that blight down can be very, very useful. Actually looks like Una saying 3. I'm not sure what he means by that, but obviously that is 2 allies, so it's something that only WFZ can see. Maybe they have some sort of secret code, or maybe it was just he accidentally hit enter while using his hotkeys. We'll never know, unfortunately, and as the Priest of the Moon actually gets a bit caught out here again. Still very, very low on experience, but it's still nice to have something at least, because obviously the Priestess of the Moon aren't really intended to do much creeping. You more want to get the Death Knight and Tauren Chieftain leveled instead. And we do not have Ancient Protector actually being moved out front as opposed to being put here or somewhere a bit more defensive. It's a bit surprising, but I guess maybe it's just going to allow battles to go, or it to have an effect on battles that are a bit further out. And Speed Scroll now being used as this Death Knight's taking a lot of damage already. One of the Fiends goes down very, very quickly, and we do not have the Speed Scroll doing a huge amount of damage. Another Stomp goes off now, and this Death Knight's still very, very low health. But we don't yet have the Priestess of the Moon in the battle here for the green now. Finally he comes in, but immediately a call comes in. Very, very nice here by WFZ. Immediately takes it down. And now looks like the Undead and Elf team is going to need to pull back, because they just don't have the number of units to support, or to fight against this huge number of units from the Elf and Orc team. Who really, despite not having the Priest of the Moon, have a very, very strong army, and no upgrades looks like for either side. Actually no, +1 attack for the Fiends, and 1 attack for the Huntresses as well, so World Elite have been upgrading a bit better, but it looks like maybe we're going to be having a bit of an attack here. Obviously, as I say, the Elf base is very, very nice to attack, but actually maybe he's just going to be putting himself in a good position. The Lich is now out for WFZ. That is going to mean that he can get a bit of more focused damage done, as well as Frost Nova on Troll Headhunters is super strong before you get Berserkers, and actually even once you get Berserkers it's still pretty strong. And now the Priest of the Moon hitting level 2, and so this Tauren Chieftain going to need to be a bit more careful, but he has now hit level 4, which is just so huge, because he can never get level 3 Stomp off. That's just so powerful, because it's sort of 5 seconds done and only 6 second cooldown, so really you can get a huge number of them going off if you can have enough mana potions. And obviously it's pretty easy to get the extra gold from the Elf who's sticking at tier 1, so that's a very, very nice possibility. Meanwhile, WFC has gotten Burrow here, so that'll just going to help him a bit with the later game micro, and certainly that could be something that proves to be very, very strong. And in the meantime, the Priestess of the Moon has come back out, is almost level 2, will get level 2 from this camp, and the Tauren Chieftain ways away from level 4 at the moment, or level 5, I beg your pardon, at the moment. But actually maybe we're going to be seeing a bit of a creep down. WFC does need to be careful here with his Death Knight. It is very, very low on health, and he does not have a statue, which is just brilliant in 2 versus 2, and they could use some Moonwells probably to get a bit of healing going on. Actually, there's one Moonwell back here sort of being ignored, and there's that full moon, full mana, so actually should probably be used quite soon now. And we do not have PCG does have 1 Owl Scout going up here, going to allow scouting out obviously of units using hide at night, and then also burrowed Fiends. It's also nice to have that instead of getting searing arrows, and we do not have a scroll protection, which obviously is absolutely brilliant in those 2 versus 2s, which is obviously certainly not as good in 1 versus 1s. And we do have a couple free Fiend shots going off here. I wonder if we'll see any more upgrades now for the Undead. Certainly now he's hit tier 2, it will be fairly possible for him to do so. And actually looks like, ooh, we have a Crypt Arm being brought out as well as level 3, and actually a couple statues and things being rallied at home, so that they can't be caught out by this invading army now coming in from the green team, who is now moving, looks like, somewhat in towards the base. Actually one one rally. Tetris immediately goes down. So nicer play here by WFC than by Una, who's really managing to keep his units a bit scattered in comparison. And we do not have the Torrent Chieftain being forced to TP home because there is obviously no Priest of the Moon nearby. But a call goes off to take down one Headhunter just before the TP goes off. So nice play here. As we see, Stronghold is being upgraded right now for the Orc player, so we will eventually be able to get those Berserkers perhaps, which are so good, as well as getting that first attack upgrade. And in the meantime, we do have this this shop being crept out as well, and the Priest of the Moon is going to hit level 3 as well from the spot, which is going to be so useful because it's going to double the effect of the aura, and it's picked up a lot of scrolls as well. Actually, it would be nice to pass that Potion of Greater Mana to the Torrent Chieftain as well to get a huge number of stomps off. Just so powerful, as I say. And then it looks like we do have the Crypt Lord gonna get a bit closer to level 2, but certainly we'll be getting it here. But certainly level 1 Crypt Lord is all you really need, because all you need is the spikes, and then at that point really it's just a matter of lining it up, and that's so much more important really than any sort of extra levels on those, just because it's very nice to get these stunned even for a short period of time, because it really can allow you to reposition so fantastically, because it has such great potential for huge armies that are things like obviously like Headhunters and Huntresses, where there's just so many of them that you can really almost without trying get fantastic hits off with your Crypt Lord. And we do not have 2 statues out, obviously. The mana regeneration important for the undead heroes, but not as important, certainly really not almost important at all for the Priest of the Moon. And actually 2 scrolls of healing, one of them should probably be passed to one of the undead heroes. And actually it looks like we have a Spirit Lodge and a Bestiary going up for the Orc player, so interesting switch there by him. And the green team is split up here, so we'll have to meet up together before trying to move in to take care of this attack here. And we don't have a TP on the Priest of the Moon, and we do have one for the Death Knight, so could possibly be seeing some trouble here for Una if the counter attack or if the defense here is good. But it looks like the Orc are going to have to actually TP in, so it's going to be a bit of a standard defense here. Looks like they are just about managing to hit their act together here. Scroll of Protection being used by both sides, and we do now have this Crypt Lord now hitting level 2, but a fantastic stomp now coming from the Torrent Chieftain, who is now running back. Obviously that is a level 5 TC now with that Greater Mana Potion and a Wand of Mana Stealing, so a huge number of potential stomps now coming in here, and Scroll of Healing now being used for green as well, just because they're taking so much damage from the fiends in the back. Just so nice, and a huge amount of focus now going off the Priest of the Moon, who does use an invuln pot at the last second, but another nice hit there from that Crypt Lord, who's now down to very low health and does get caught just at 20 hit points. Very nice play here by the Team World Elite, and another a try and kill there. We finally gets the kill on that Priest of the Moon. So long to kill it though, and in the meantime that aura did so much. But bear in mind there's still no TP obviously on this Priest of the Moon, so that Priest of the Moon could be in trouble eventually. Actually, it looks like the Priest of the Moon might just try and run home. Una actually now has built a Glaive Thrower as well, and we do not see World Elite in a lot of trouble now. Do have this one Abomination, which is very nice, especially if they get some disease later on. That'll be fantastic against those Headhunters, who don't have actually one armor upgrade. And as well, level 6 now on this Torrent Chieftain, just getting so much experience because there's no Priest of the Moon around. Very nice play here by the green team, who are just doing so much damage at this point and forcing this TP, but really there's very few units left, even tries to go for one of those last fiends but doesn't quite manage to get it. So very nice play here by this green team, who took a lot of damage on the space but did eventually manage to stay alive and get a huge hero level TC level 6, as WF is saying, just pointing it out, saying that is a huge problem. But in the meantime, Una is actually now taking this base as well. Just going to try and secure this, because obviously it's going to be hard for the elf to attack without its Priest of the Moon back. Actually now getting the moon armor as well, so interesting play there to get that, as opposed to maybe getting more Hunters, transferring some money, something like that. And looks like actually this expansion did have to be cancelled as the Hunters came by. And actually, wow, he's getting armor before he gets attacked. That's really unusual here. Normally you almost always get the armor second, if at all, but it's interesting choice here certainly. And Una still only level 3 in this Priest of the Moon, is going to be shopping, maybe going to buy another healing scroll, and maybe an invuln pot, but I think at this point the invuln pots are more important here for the undead, so we'll see how well they're working as a team if Una buys him a invuln pot, or if it's just healing scrolls. No, it looks like actually they're not working as a team, both shopping individually instead of doing things like transferring money. And it looks like both players have now bought a TP, so maybe they're planning some sort of attack now, just because it would be nice to try and get some sort of nice positioning here. That's really how they're going to win it, if they can force green into a small position, or they have a large concave, so they can get off very nice hits with their Crypt Lord, but avoid the stomps. And also means that their ores are going to affect all their units, whereas a spread out army, it, it just gets such good surface area. It can be very, very useful when you have things like abominations as well. But it looks like we do have one more hit going off here with the Impale, and does get one kill there with the Nova and the Quell, but actually it looks like an invisible Torn Chieftain here could cause a lot of trouble for Team World Elite if he can get into a great position at the start of this battle. It looks like he's going to be able to get it. A huge stomp now goes off for the green team as they do a huge amount of damage, get some great positioning here. A nice Impale going off, taking out 6 huntresses at once, but it looks like we do have the Crypto now taking a lot of damage. Obviously does have the bonus armor, but still another huge stomp now goes off. Fantastic stomps by the Torn Chieftain, really beasting it up. Obviously no point trying to focus down that Torn Chieftain as well, because they'll just come back with more mana and more health. So tricky to kill once it gets to that high level. And now the huge number of hunters now pushing forward as we see a TP being used here by the Death Knight, and we will need to be seeing a TP being used by the Priest of the Moon. Actually maybe just invisibility potion. Yes, does by the invisibility potion and the dust, and then immediately sells the dust as well. But bear in mind there is the owl scout here for the elf, who could try and bring it forward to use it, but is actually hiding. No, he does manage to catch Una out though, and Una now could be in a lot of trouble. Una now getting actually stomped, actually a bit of an unnecessary stomp, all things considered. Does actually need to bring back the Owl Scout. It doesn't quite have enough mana quite yet here, so actually maybe will be able to survive for a bit longer. Obviously Una can use the TP if you really need to, but then here the Owl Scout comes yet again, and Una now looks like he's trying to buy some more items. Not sure what items could have helped him at that point though. Eventually does need to TP home, and so he just wasted a bit of money, but he wasted a lot of time for the Orc player and the Elf player as well. And the Coda Beast now as well, which is a very, very nice unit to have, because it does give an aura, and obviously auras in 2 vs 2 so effective. And Fortress now coming up here for this Orc player. Obviously you want to get those Berserkers, you want to get an orb as well, probably. Actually the orb would be very, very nice on the elf, on the Priest of the Moon at this point, because we do have Owl Scout being used instead of Searing Arrows. Actually we do have Shaman being used as well. I wonder if we're going to be seeing Bloodlust, or if we're going to be, because really none of it's or Purge isn't too useful. Lightning Shield could be useful, I suppose, if we saw it being used on enemy fiends, something like that. But obviously then it's just a matter of microing them well. So we'll have to see what the plan is, at least, as Una's now producing a couple more Glaive Throwers by the looks of things, and WFZ actually mixing up his army a bit more than we often see, putting in some abominations which obviously don't benefit from the Priest of the Moon aura. I mean, Priest of the Moon aura, Priest of the Moon actually doing a huge amount of nice harassment here. We could be seeing the Purge being used, I suppose, to try and slow down the Priest of the Moon, to try and get a good stomp off and then get the surround or something like that. But I think the green team just going to want to try and go for some sort of attack now. Don't want to let their opponent get any sort of expansion going, anything like that. And do need to be a bit more proactive, I think, than they're being at this point. But we've seen a bunch of attacks now fail from Team World Elite, so we'll have to see how this is going to be played out. 3 attack upgrades now finished for Fiends and for Destroyers if they do come out. So that could be very, very nice here. Obviously the Fiends do a huge amount of damage to things like the Huntresses, because they just get the extra range. Obviously Huntresses do extra damage as well, but when they don't have any attack upgrades, it's not as useful. And the Headhunters now obviously do have 1/1, but it would be very, very nice to see some more upgrades on them, considering that we're at 56 food. So really you should be getting a lot of upgrade before you hit 51 food basically. And Priest of the Moon now going to buy so many healing scrolls here. 3 healing scrolls, but only, bear in mind, 2 heroes for the green team. So we're really going to need to definitely transfer at least one of those over, so they both have 2, and then just constantly be using them, not being afraid to be using 1 each at the beginning or at an early stage of the battle, just so they can have time to be able to use the second one by the time the cooldown has finished. And this Priest of the Moon now going to try and run around a bit more, try and find if where the green army is, and try and distract them for a bit longer. Actually maybe heading towards his own base, but there's not a huge amount there. He's put a bunch more ancient protectors and actually a bunch more glaive throwers as well, so maybe Team World Elite is really hoping for an attack to happen on them, where they can get in fantastic position with the Grave Throwers and do a huge amount of damage to the Huntresses and to the Shaman as well. And that would be very, very nice. We do have Adept Training now finished, we do have Lightning Shield. Obviously if we do see actually a Shadow Hunter now coming out second, that's an interesting choice. But if we do see Bloodlust, then obviously we can get Destroyers coming out here for WFZ, which is just going to absolutely annihilate that. So we will need to be careful, or Team Green will need to be careful. But it'll be interesting to see how this is going to play out. Lots of these Gravethorns now being caught out just at the start of the battle, and it looks like eventually the Hunters do need to turn around, and unfortunately not many of those Gravethor hits do actually manage to get off there, and so this green team now looking to be in a fantastic position, almost level 5 on the Priest of the Moon, which is going to be just so huge. But again, more huge if he got that first attack upgrade. I can't believe he doesn't have that. And now all the main mines have run out, so all players will probably be looking to either attack or expand. We'll have to see what the team ethos turns out to be. And Berserker training is now done. Adept training still no Bloodlust coming out here for the Orc players. So it looks just gonna be Lightning Shield, as I say. Lightning Shield can be pretty useful, especially on things like Fiends, because they're quite big, and because they're likely to be surrounded by their own units. But you do have to worry about taking too much, or just microing being good, and then the Fiend being moved towards your units, and then all of a sudden you're taking damage. And a Great Hall now being built, not a tiny Great Hall, as a Shade actually scout that out here for WFZ, and I wonder if we're going to be seeing... No, it doesn't look like we're seeing a Boneyard, just a sacrificial pit being built so that one Shade can be produced. Actually, now that his mines run out, considering he's unlikely to... Oh, actually, he is taking expansion here. That's an interesting choice here to go for the expansion there, and go all caps here for Una. Una really looking to take this attack now. We do have a Disease Cloud now finishing for WFZ as well, and look at this, the revealed Shorn Chieftain now taking a lot of focus, but obviously huge amount of health, and with that reincarnation should be perfectly fine to be focused a bit, and actually focused a lot really. And a Nova goes off immediately. This Torn Chieftain now down to only 400 health from his original 1100. Very large amount of damage being taken. Maybe they're just going to try and put up with the fact that he's going to reincarnate and then try and chase him out for the second part of the battle. But in the meantime, a huge amount of damage being taken here on these abominations. We know the Torn Chieftain is eventually focused down. He is going to reincarnate, but maybe they're going to try and focus him down yet again. And Una in the back doing so much damage to these Huntresses. Very nice play here by Una, but it looks like the Huntresses might eventually be able to overwhelm, as the Torn Chieftain now manages to run away, is back to full mana, and does have 2 mana potions as well, and we do not have an invuln potion being used on the Crypt Lord as well. Obviously the Death Knight has a lot of mana left because of the statues, and we do not have eventually a lot of these Grave Lords have been taken down. The Huntresses are going to manage to close the gap, and the Berserkers are just going to do so much damage despite having taken pretty much all been hit by the Disease Cloud. They're just so powerful at this point. Torn Chieftain now being impaled yet again, but just not quite enough. Looks like the Torn Chieftain can just be micro back very deftly. Very nice play there, and we do now have Starfall coming out here. No impale quite yet here from the undead player. Actually, he's a fair ways away, so he's going to be forced to take a bit of damage, but eventually a TP has to go off, and it looks like this match might be forfeited, as there's huge play here by these undead heroes. So nice play here by WFZ, as he's managing to now chase away the very low level Shadow Hunter. Interesting, very interesting choice to get a level to get a Shadow Hunter that's just so low on the experience this late in the game, because it's just so easy to focus down. So we'll have to see how that plays out there for him, but obviously the healing is just so important as the stomp goes off, and now the Torn Chieftain taken down. Very nice play here with just that huge timing on that stomp, as now the Crypt Lord gonna go down as well, and maybe the green team gonna be able to push back. Now even the rage is being used on all the Berserkers as they just push forward, taking extra damage. Obviously they're not taking any damage, so really it's very acceptable to be using that at this point, as the Priest of the Moon now tries to get a bit of a distraction off, but just not much here for Team World Elite. They do have this one expansion here, and they have actually taken both the expansions, as Green is now taking both of theirs, but Green's actually mining a lot less, so they do need to do some sort of damage now, or immediately get their mines up and running. So it looks like they're just going to go for the damage at this point. Their Torn Chieftain's very low, and the reincarnation probably still a bit on cooldown, so it does need to be a bit careful with it. But actually this Priest of the Moon now getting purged. Very nice using that purge sort of in lieu of raiders, and forcing the TP here from Una, who's now going to have to go back to his base, going to have to heal up. Actually it looks like because he just walked his mine, he's going to have to walk all the way to his base now. In the meantime, looks like this mine going to be unsummoned, and so the green team will now be able to move to this base here and do a lot more damage. Really solid play here by this green team, taking out certainly a much better known team. By the looks of things, this Death Knight only halfway done, and bear in mind there are no taverns on this map, or there is only one tavern in the middle, which is absolutely controlled by the green team, and there's really no way of getting to there, and then not just getting immediately killed by things like Banish and Stomp, and maybe even Hex. Who knows? So really nice play here by this green team. The Shadow Hunter actually worked out a lot better than I thought he would, because the Shadow Hunter just was kept in the back. So many range units meant that he was usually quite safe, and the healing and the hacks, things like that, are actually really, really powerful late game skills. And it looks like there's the GG from Una, who now that he's losing his base as well. No more mining, 14 World Elite as they're taken down in this 2 versus 2. Very, very nice. Actually, like he's talking to allies this whole time. And there's the GG. And wow, amazing play there by both sides. But that green team, just really, really solid play there, and really took some good battles in the beginning, got a huge hero level advantage on the Torrent Chieftain, and even on the Priest of the Moon to an extent, because they had so many fewer heroes early on. So a nice game there by both sides, but eventually just the green team just overwhelmed with those Headhunters Hunters combination. So I hope you enjoy that game, folks. I'll try and bring you some more normal games perhaps in the future. Thanks for watching, folks.